You know, growing up, when I was faced with a big, tough decision, my mom and daddy made me draw a T-chart, and it was a pros and cons list. Well, this video is gonna be a pros and cons list of whether or not you should live in Greenville, South Carolina. My name's Sawyer. I'm a local real estate expert here in the area, and if you're thinking about moving to Greenville or simply wanting to learn more about the area, my goal is to be a resource for you, and hopefully when you buy or sell a home, be your realtor of choice. So first and foremost, something that we really need to talk about, and it's maybe the biggest pro about Greenville, is the park space. The city's done a really good job at putting this as a huge initiative as their plan moving forward with the Greenville 2040 and their development up until this point as preserving green space. In fact, city managers from across the country have come in and interviewed Mayor Knox White, who, by the way, was on Time Magazine's 100 most influential people several years ago, and asked him, you know, how have y'all done what you've done with Greenville? And a lot of other cities have adopted what we've done and used that moving forward for them. So what you'll notice when you come to Greenville is a lot of park space. And the most important park probably in Greenville is Falls Park, which is where the Liberty Bridge is. Reedy Falls are right there, the big Camperdown development base over top of it. And today we're standing in Unity Park, which is Greenville's largest park and its newest park. And this is what all the buzz around the city is about right now. In front of me will be Unity Tower. Over here is the Commons with multiple vendors like Methodical Coffee, Golden Brown Delicious, Carolina Triathlete. And what you'll see to my left is just a ton of green space. So if you come out here on the weekends, you'll see all types of people biking, running, playing in the park with their kids. This is a really, really cool part of Greenville. And on the south side of the park, there's gonna be senior, affordable, and workforce housing, which has also been a big development and initiative by part of the city. Another big pro about living in Greenville is the Swamp Rabbit Trail system, which we're standing on now, just outside of Unity Park. The system is over 20 miles long. There's marathons, there's half marathons, 5Ks. A lot of events happen on the trail every year. So the trail starts just north of Travelers Rest and runs just south of Greenville in Conisty Park. And on that way, it runs by Furman, comes through Unity Park, runs down into Falls Park where Reedy Falls is, and then makes its way through Cleveland Park and down to Conisty Park, pretty much all along the Reedy River, especially in this section. And if you move to Greenville, you'll definitely need to utilize the Swamp Rabbit Trail on the weekends with your family. You can come get a morning coffee, spend your morning in Falls Park, go on Liberty Bridge. A lot of people use the trail on a daily basis, especially for exercise. You'll find a lot of people walking, running, and even cycling on the trail. Another popular destination along the trail is the Swamp Rabbit Cafe. You can stop in there and get a meal to eat, or you can get some locally sourced produce on your way home from work. So another big pro about living in Greenville is the weather and the climate, right? So we personally work with a lot of folks from the north and way out west, and there's just bitter, bitter cold winters, right? The average temperature here in the wintertime, 45 to 55 degrees, right? And we might have 2 weeks of below freezing temperatures at night, and we typically will get 1 to 2 snows a year. Now in the summertime, it can get pretty hot, but comparatively speaking to Charleston, right, or Florida, it's not as just drastically humid. Now it does get humid here, but compared to those areas, not near as bad. So the weather, again, is a huge attractant to people moving and living in Greenville. So while our temperatures might be mild in the wintertime, they aren't so mild in the summertime, right? So it's 85 degrees today. I'm pretty sweaty, and summer hasn't even started. So in the summertime, you can expect a lot of humidity, 85 to 95 degrees on any given day, sunny skies. Every day it seems to rain over in Greer, but like I said before, it's not gonna be as exhaustively hot as it is on the coast or say somewhere like Florida. So while we don't have the most mild temperatures in the summer, it's still pretty hot. Two other big pros to Greenville is where Greenville is in the country, right? So we're in the southeast in South Carolina and in the northwest corner of South Carolina. So the whole area is called the Upstate, right? So you'll hear me refer to the area or maybe even Greenville as like the Upstate. Well, that's what I'm talking about. So we are 3.5 hours from the beach. We're only 45 minutes to the Blue Ridge Mountains. So we're only 45 minutes from Asheville. We're an hour and a half from Columbia, the state capital. And then, like I said, 3.5 hours to Charleston and about the same distance to the popular Myrtle Beach. We're also really close to Atlanta and Charlotte. So if you need to make a big flight overseas, Atlanta, the most efficient, one of the largest airports in the world, 2 hours away. And then Charlotte International Airport is just an hour and a half away. Also, Greenville has the #1 small international airport in the entire country. Another big reason that people love Greenville and another big pro for Greenville is that the real estate here is pretty affordable. You know, the average price point last month was roughly $350,000. And compared to, say, Florida, compared to even Asheville, which is 45 minutes away, right? Greenville's still very, very affordable. Now, downtown Greenville, of course, prices are gonna be higher, right? Versus Travelers Rest or Simpsonville or Powdersville, you know, on the outskirts of the city. But a big draw to the area is that Greenville's real estate is so affordable and taxes are so low. So a con that you really need to consider before moving here is that Greenville's getting pretty busy. You know, it's one of the last best places, I think, in the Southeast and in the country. So a lot of people are catching on, right? And a lot of people are moving here. Last year, probably 30% of my business was relocations. So I help a lot of folks relocate to the area who are coming from the north, maybe the west, Midwest, who want to experience all these pros, but with that really brings more people and that can present some problems, right? So Greenville hasn't been this big metropolis for 100 years. So an additional con, I think, would be the lack of public transportation outside of downtown. You know, GreenLink, I think, does a pretty good job of being able to transport people around the city. But once you get out of the city, it's gonna be really hard to find good, dependable, reliable public transportation. You know, if you're interested in living in a super urban area and you wanna be able to take public transportation because you just don't like driving a lot, Greenville might not be the place for you because there's just not a lot of public transportation outside of the city. So I hope this information was helpful. And if you're thinking about moving to the area, and if you want to learn more about Greenville, please reach out to me at my email. We'll link that below. It's wcsawyerjr@kw.com, or give me a call, 864-980-4828. And when you think about buying or selling a home in Greenville, I hope to be your realtor of choice. Thanks.